order at 5:30. Minutes. Anyone have any questions regarding the minutes for January 14th meeting? Any comments, suggestions, edits? All set. I'll make a motion to accept the January 14th regular meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Bill.
Thanks. You have a copy of the written report. I'll just summarize a couple of the items. First of all, our legislative roundtable has been postponed. We're still trying to figure out whether the date we can reschedule. I think that some of what we're experiencing speaks to their schedules right now. And so we're trying to work on rescheduling, but we haven't been able to come up with a date yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we can. We do have the Safety and Security Task Force scheduled for March the 3rd. We completed a round of the educator evaluation training where we spent time in classrooms, in schools. I think you hosted a session here, which was great, thank you. Working on both observing, coming up with accommodations, recommendations, and then what write-ups would be. We had a last session with Bill Rebus around how we continue the work in March. Just a reminder that in March is our session of recommendations around renewals for staff. That'll come up. And the one thing I just want to make sure stays on your radar that we didn't discuss as much last year, and I'm not sure how many you have in this district, but we have some people who are here and they're not on permanent license. They're on some type of alternative plan. Those people have to make progress on those alternative plans for us to continue them. Last year in May, we did have 2 people in our districts who we had to let go because they had not made progress on those plans. So there's what you do in terms of looking at the evaluation process, and then there's these alternative plans that actually Dr. Hobbs and our principals monitor to make sure people are making progress. The last thing that we'll have, hopefully by the end of this week, if not the beginning of next week, is a video that we created around the, you're smiling, a video that we created around the CESPA agreement. So like we did last year with the C agreement, we got a group together, made up of our board members. I've listed who was involved, thank you very much.
I do it.
Oh, that's right, why are you laughing then?
Because I did it last
Because
year.
you did it last year.
And they screwed up with a question that wasn't supposed to be asked.
That's right. Well, we were better at ad-libbing this year.
Okay.
I think we did it came off really well. Dr. Eric Killian was the moderator this year, and we had a student, Erin Dowd, who's a junior at the high school, who actually is working with me on an ELO around doing some videos where I interview people, but she was the director and facilitator of this. So we expect to have it later this week, the beginning of next week, to be able to put out on social media and other places to let people know what actually is recommended in that CESPA agreement. So, thanks, that's my report.
Any questions? We received those recommendations for staff in April, correct?
No, they'll be in March.
Okay, so March board meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Hobbs.
Thank you. You have my written report in your packets. I might as well just pick up with certification. In addition to the alt certifications that we're going through right now, we do have just regular continuing educator certifications going through. I think there are 92 throughout the SAU that we're going to be processing through April. I can keep you posted on the progress. Teachers have portfolios set up in Frontline, and we're in the process now of them filling out the form, the recertification form, and going ahead and approving. You saw the CBE presentation not too long ago at the joint board meeting. I wanted to give a little bit of air to that. If you do have any follow-up questions on that, happy to take them. John's been doing great work with QPAs. He was actually here Monday this week. and working with teams. I wanted to let you know that the K through 2 and the 3 through 5 curriculum teams are still working. I've given you a little graphic there about what exactly they're doing, bundling Common Core state standards in ELA, both ELA and math, and bringing them up into what we would call competencies or application stages. So that's been great work. The feedback's been really positive. The only last thing on my report is upcoming PD events. We actually had our early release today, February 5th, and then the next full day SEL PD, which Dr. Eric Kalian's been working very hard on, is February 11th, and that's for social emotional learning. I'll let her speak to that. Other highlights are March 10th and May 6th.
Any questions for Dr. Hobbs? Thanks, David.
Thanks.
Dr. Herculean?
Thank you. We are in the final stages of planning our full-day professional development focused on social emotional learning. That will be on Tuesday, the entire SAU, and board members are welcome to join us for the morning portion of the day. We're going to have Scarlett Lewis, who's the founder of Choose Love Foundation, the Jesse Lewis Choose Love Foundation. And we'll have closing remarks with Perry Plummer, who's the Assistant Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Safety. He connects SEL with safety, and that SEL is essential to keep our kids safe, to keep an environment where SEL is present in order for kids who've had trauma in the past to remain safe in schools. So we hope to see as many of you there as possible. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
I'll continue with the SEL theme today. We had a really fantastic day today with our staff. We've been working hard on SEL goals and beginning a common language that we're developing together that we want to make part of our culture. You can already see it with the younger ones who are like sponges. But today we had an SEL in Action Day. And it was a series, we actually started with the Castle Wheel, which we talked a little bit during our survey time. And one of those was starting with self-awareness, because without it you actually can't do the rest of it. And after that it will be self-management, also perspective taking. So today with the staff we actually did a series of activities that they can also transfer right into the classroom with kids. So it was information and activities that they can use, but it also helped us to continue to develop the common language, which we're doing. And then we actually did, created a library, a takeout library for staff with all of the SEL materials that we've purchased over the last couple of months and we're ready to use. So more of that to come. It's still young, but it's going to take a real hold here, and we're hoping that it really shifts the culture. And we'll share that common language with you when we're ready to. We'd like to do one of our meetings, a presentation with that. Shifting gears a little bit, that is not in this, is next Monday we are going to open up kindergarten registration for next year. I did talk to our public librarian today. We'll get it on their website since they have a lot of young kid book groups, and do all the typical ways we advertise that here. 14 that we know of. We're obviously hoping for a bigger group than that. We're also, I know that David and Caroline talked about curriculum and other pieces, so I'll talk about maybe some more of the fun stuff, but after school time is often considered a second curriculum, especially for middle school kids, so we've been trying to develop more clubs and different types of clubs, and we're targeting the 3 to 6 sixth grade groups, because the 7th, 8th grade have a play coming up, their trips. They have, we just finished basketball, floor hockey, all of that. So we're trying to target the younger kids to give them productive activities to do after school. So we, tomorrow, actually have a nice problem with a new STEM club we're starting. 3rd and 4th grade will be added to the STEM curriculum next year, so I thought it might be a nice way for Mike Queenan to run a club, introduce STEM to them, and let them get to know him. We have too many kids, so we're actually going to meet with all of them tomorrow and probably split it in 2. We only opened it up to grades 3 and 4, so we have almost 100% of them, so it is a nice problem. I love it. We also started Taekwondo on Monday, and an outside gentleman that actually has a place across the street came over, and we've been talking about it, and I opened it up to the whole school, but we have a young crowd. So to see kindergartens in there ready to kick and, you know, whatever they're doing, it was actually really pretty sweet. So we have 15 in that group, and then a huge group, obviously still skiing, and then our floor hockey will open up in the next couple of weeks. So we're trying to give kids activities on every day of the week that are healthy, fun, that they can be here with adults engaging and creating relationships. So we're working hard on that, and he already mentioned John Vanderels. We had a really great day on Monday with him all day. So he's been working with staff, and we're ready to go with the second round of QPA assessments. Question?
So, yeah, on the clubs, so obviously if it's STEM, Mr. Queenan is the guy that's kind of running that club. But in the Taekwondo or some other type of club, is it an outside person?
It is an outside person, and
Okay,
he's
so there's not a teacher has to be present, that's just.
No, I mean, our teachers have many talents, so I mean,
Yeah.
that was stretching it. But no, it was a gentleman across the street, and he actually has established programs in a couple of elementary schools in Exeter and Kensington.
Oh, that's good.
So I called those schools and got really good reviews from him. And we had a really good response, and it is from kindergarten to 5th grade, which I'm glad that was the group. But the goal setting, the self-discipline, the respect, all those things tie into what we're doing in school. Particularly the goal setting I really liked with him, because by the end of the 12 Mondays, the kids can have their first stripe in a belt,
Oh, that's good.
which I think is neat.
Now, do you have to have school staff here present? for
I
that?
don't. We hired him like we would
Get hired.
a basketball group coming in or
Yeah.
any other. You know, he provided us with his insurance and
Yeah.
and all of that. I checked all that out through Matt Ferrara, and we were good to go. We put it together fairly quickly, which I think it's going to be I think it's going to be here for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. That's awesome.
I know, it's fun.
Why not?
What sort of projects and activities do you have for the Kindness Month?
Oh boy, we have tons of them. We had a group of 5th graders come to the PTO meeting last month. They did a presentation. They want to combine the whole Valentine's week with kindness and candygrams and things like that. And all that money will be sent over to Australia, because they are going to save every animal in that country, just so you know. Because I love their goal setting and I love their empathy, but that seems to be a big topic. We also have activities in each of our morning meetings with all of our groups and advisee. Laura Wheeler she provides a whole slew of activities to our staff every single month, depending on the topic. And then they implement those through their morning meetings. So you'll see all kinds of acts of kindness. If you walk down into the gym area tonight, if you see little stickers on the wall, start reading them. They're all little reminders of kindness, very subtle. I don't even know who did them. I keep asking, nobody will tell me, so, which is nice.
Sounds like my house.
Oh.
I didn't do that.
A little different tone, but the Valentine's week promotes a lot of it, but we're trying to promote kindness as a form of love, and it's just age appropriate, school appropriate, so it's fun.
Do the 7th and 8th graders, I mean, obviously there's.
They're not feeling the love as much.
Well, that's what I was curious about, because obviously they're in that non-loving age.
But
They're getting there.
you know, it's funny, I
I know from
Yes, they
history.
are.
think they only feel that at school. They want to love everybody else in the world.
Yeah, right, right.
It's, I'm joking, of course, but Mission Impact is very
Yes.
impactful.
So it's just different types of.
It's more mature.
Yeah.
It's out into the community. We had a group of 7th and 8th grade kids in Mission Impact go to a local nursing home, and it was really touching, the stories that came back. But those are the types of projects that they're working on, and they're spreading the love that way.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
love and kindness.
I heard that because it was particularly fun.
I heard it was fabulous.
Yeah, I did too.
You know, they're learning how to work with people with memory loss, with disabilities, and just the way Liz teaches them to talk to them, activate them, sing with them. It's nice. And I do want to bring up too that we've had an incredibly positive response to our concert.
That was great.
That was good.
Thank you.
I thought she did a fantastic job. It sounded fantastic.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one question.
It's those guitar kids though, oh my goodness. John's son is a guitar player and
He
really
did
did a
great.
fabulous job. And your son Greg in the band and
Yeah, what? Anyway. Good old Luke. I have one floor hockey question. Are we going to use the puck like we normally do and operate floor hockey like we normally do, or we had to take any special considerations because of our new floor?
we bought new equipment
Great,
that is floor friendly.
okay.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's here.
Anything else? Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ellen?
Good evening. I do not have anything to report this month, and I don't want to expand on that because I don't want to jinx myself.
That's good news.
Any questions for Ellen? I won't jinx it and ask any questions.
Just do
Ellen.
what you did this month, next month.
Do my best.
School nutrition.
So Beth Simon included the quarterly nutrition department's report, as well as the financials. As you know, they've been working on that's the Scratch cooking initiative. They transitioned from Domino's to homemade pizza after some taste testing, which got amazing reviews. Everyone loved it. We actually had, I think, 5 staff members from the SAU, including Deb, go over and sample it, and they loved it, right, Deb?
Very good.
Costs have increased due to the initiative. However, we do feel that it's well worth both on a taste perspective and on a health perspective. So we feel it's a worthy investment. So I'd be happy to answer any questions in regard to the school nutrition program.
I just have one. Some of these initiatives we undertook after we did budget. How is this going to compare, or how is it going to affect next year's budget? Or was it taken into account?
Yeah, I think most of these it was already
Oh,
in
good.
effect, so I don't anticipate there being an issue next year. I mean, as we count on an annual basis, we anticipate a deficit, but we budgeted for an interfund transfer to cover that deficit. So
Any additional questions? Thank you, Matt. Finance report.
So I've included the fiscal year-to-date revenue and expenditure reports for 2020, 2021. I'm sorry, 2019, 2020. I'm looking forward with budgets, I guess. There haven't been any substantial or significant changes from last month, as you're aware. We do have some overages in special education. However, we have some savings in our benefits accounts that have compensated for that. Currently, overall, we're a little bit over, we're about $220,000 in available balance. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
With regards to the school nutrition account, it is over or heading in that direction. How do you see it playing out as we move through the remaining part of the year? And we will have to do a transfer, but is it going to be one of our normal size transfers, or do you see it being increased?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more than what we had budgeted for, because last year when we budgeted, we did not account for the Scratch cooking initiative. I mean, currently, the report is showing that we have an available balance with encumbrances. However, I fully expect that to go negative very shortly.
Okay.
We budgeted a $15,000 transfer. I would guess it'll be in the 20s.
Okay.
So,
And we'll be able to do that.
we should be able to cover it with, I mean, with the savings that we're seeing in our benefits accounts and some of our other, salary accounts.
Okay.
If we do have, issues as we approach the end of the year, we'd be probably looking at special education, withdrawal, because we're so over in special education. So there's
Okay.
levers we can pull.
Oh, okay.
We've had expenditures in building maintenance that we could, do a withdrawal there, but I do not anticipate getting anywhere near that point unless something's gone wrong.
That's where I was kind of headed, Matt. I didn't know if any of those trusts applied to this, and I can't come up with any reason that they do.
No, it wouldn't apply directly to this, but we have plenty of overages in those accounts that we could apply to, so.
Any additional questions from Matt? Good. Thank you. Winnicott update.
I don't have anything particular on Bill's report.
Okay. Is that new?
That we're adding it?
Yes.
So we were doing, it was actually being added in some districts and not in others. We just standardized it across
Okay.
all of our districts.
I'll open the floor to public comment. Okay, since there's no public comment, I will close the floor. School board calendar update. Pam, you did send an email regarding,
Yeah, I've
The
started
newsletter.
the newsletter.
Yeah. And you sent me the other email as well, correct?
Right.
Okay, I have not addressed that, so.
Some hints how to go about doing it, and I think the breakdown, when it's due. usually
Yes.
within 2 months.
Who contacts you?
Secretary of the town, it just comes from secretary at hampton.org.
I should reach out to them to get that changed.
Yeah.
Okay, take care of that. That's all I have. Does anybody else have anything for? 2019-2020 goals.
This is just what it is.
And we need to vote on this, correct?
No, you did. last
Oh, we
month.
did?
Yes.
Okay.
But it still says draft.
Oh, we just haven't taken that off, sorry.
Any questions? Operating budget warrant article.
So, for all of our warrant articles, we've not had a full school board, so we are requesting, a revote, with the full board so that we can adequately or accurately measure the board's vote for, all the warrant articles, including the operating budget, CESPA, paving, special education, building maintenance, and the school health insurance warrant articles.
Now, I'll make the motions. We have to do it individually, correct?
Yes, please.
And do I have to read the whole thing, or can I just identify it as warrant article 4,
You can-
special education trust?
Yeah,
order?
you can just identify the warrant article and not specify
Okay.
just to move forward.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2020-21 budget in the amount of $6,946,625 as presented.
Second.
All set, Jeff? I'll make a motion to accept the Seacoast Educational Support Personnel Association contract as presented. Should I call it a contract?
Agreement.
Agreement as
CBA.
presented, CBA. Can you second?
Second. Oh, thanks.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept our repaving parking lot in the amount of $98,994? Can I get a second?
Second.
Can I get a motion to raise and appropriate $25,000 for the Special Education Expendable Trust, funded from the unassigned fund balance? Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll make a motion to accept or to raise and appropriate $50,000 for our Building Maintenance Expendable Trust Fund, which will be, come from the unassigned fund balance as presented. Can I get a second?
Second.
And finally, I'll make a motion to raise and appropriate $25,000 to be added to the existing school health insurance expendable trust fund, funded through the unassigned fund balance. Can I get a second?
Second.
Now, before we move forward, I have a question for JP, since you're here.
Sure.
Currently on the yellow sheet, it indicates all of these, the budget and all warrant articles past 4-0.
Right.
Now that we are at 5-0, can you present that, or do you have to present 4-0?
I can make note that there was a meeting and I heard motions, I didn't actually hear a
Well,
vote.
I was gonna ask that question. Should we say yay or nay and then hit the yes button? Because that's a good question, because there are people watching and so forth. and they don't know
Yeah,
what
I
those-
thought of that.
I mean,
We haven't done that, probably a wise thing to do.
Yeah,
don't
unfortunately, I
know.
thought about it on the very last one.
Many of our other boards are doing that. now.
Oh, we do?
They're
Okay.
doing some kind of indication,
Yeah.
so that you
Okay.
can see that on, watching on TV or whatever.
That being said, do we need to repeat the exercise, or can we just communicate that the vote was 5-0?
JP, for you, I was the missing vote, and I voted yes on everything.
Okay. And none of the other votes changed?
No.
So everybody,
5-0 for all.
everybody on all 6 articles?
So for the budget and each warrant article, we all voted 5-0 in favor.
Okay, very good.
And it is live on Board Doc, so if you were to log in, you'd see those votes come up. And just to make note, I mean, it's really for the ballot that's important. Tonight's less important with the vote. So we just want to have it as a 5-0.
Right.
You want to do it?
Oh, I understand that, but
Yeah, it's good to,
now, do we need to make a motion for you to do that, JP, or you can just do that?
No, I'm glad to communicate that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Overnight trip stipend.
So, a few months ago, in two of our districts in particular, largely driven by the 8th grade trips, we were asked by the administration and/or board to look at what other districts are doing with respect to stipends for those culminating experience trips. And I think, Mr. Farrar, correct me if I'm wrong, but they largely limited it to those culminating experience trips in both of those districts. And so Matt went back and did that research. We presented a set of recommendations to them in both those districts, and it's Seabrook and Northampton, and they've approved that stipend for those overnight trips. Naturally, we intended to bring it to our other boards for consideration. We're starting that tonight because we understand that our 7th and 8th grade teachers talk to one another, which is a good thing, right? And so here we are, and Matt will sort of walk you through some of the thinking and the work that we did, or he did, and the recommendation.
Right, so what we did is we took a look at what other school districts within New Hampshire, how they treat overnight trips. So we pulled collective bargaining agreements. And it is part of collective bargaining, as this is compensation for teachers. And primarily it was a per night stipend. And it was in the range of $100 a night, in the $250 range. As such, we are recommending that $200 a night stipend for these overnight trips.
Does this need to be added to the collective bargaining?
So that's the next step, is we will put together a memorandum of agreement, which will need to be signed off on by the union presidents, and that will be embedded in the bargaining agreement, so.
And before we went to any of the boards, we did talk with union leadership. They were, of course, not opposed.
Will we have to vote to accept that when it's drawn up, or specific language is written?
You need to vote to accept this stipend in principle. You do not, the SAU administration will sign off on the actual MOA.
And just so I'm clear, it currently is not in
That's correct.
It is not.
either of them.
No.
That's correct.
Any questions?
And this is covered in the budget somehow?
It is not budgeted for.
Right.
However, as I mentioned a little earlier, we did do some significant savings in our benefits and some of the line items that we are confident should cover these costs for this year.
Do we know roughly what it would cost our school? It's the 2 trips, right? Okay.
7th and 8th grade,
2 trips, both are 4 nights apiece.
couple
Four
of people.
Probably 11
11.
staff.
So about 10,000.
So there's 11 staff?
11 each or 11 total?
No, total.
So it's like 8-9 grand.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's probably a little bit easier for the larger districts to absorb this cost. In your study, did you look at a lot of districts our size? Are they paying 200, the smaller districts paying $200 a night?
There's a wide range. There's one district that paid a per diem based on their salary. There was not rhyme or reason. I'd love to say that the larger school districts paid more, the smaller school districts paid less, but that's not the case. It's the same job, no matter what size district, I would imagine, so. We based it on, some more of the local districts in our geographic area as opposed to size.
Has the union been informed of the dollar amount yet?
They have for Northampton and Seabrook.
Are Northampton and Seabrook stipends the same number?
Yes, $200. And we prefer to keep it consistent across the SAU. You could technically have the leeway to do a different stipend amount, but I would not recommend doing so.
I'm not against it in theory. The issue I'm struggling with is it's not a budgeted item for this current year or even next year. I wonder if we could reduce it some for this year's trip and the next year's trip, because it would be in that budget, and then in our next budget cycle, bring it to the $200 amount. I don't know how that would be perceived, or what anybody thinks.
I'd be concerned about the reaction from the teachers.
My personal opinion would be to keep it the same throughout.
Oh, I agree. It's just because it's not budgeted,
It's
that's where
10
I'm coming.
grand, it's real money, but it's not gonna be a breaker. My personal opinion.
Okay.
Am I still gonna get my sign?
We have,
Make that part of the motion.
earmarks funds.
Now we're really like, national politics.
You said something, Matt, about that? I thought.
No, I mean,
Sorry.
I mean, to Greg's point is that as we do plan to bring forth a proposal, an RFP, results for an electronic sign, and we do have funds available from the savings, from the building project, so that is still a priority, so.
For this summer's project?
Correct.
Is that the goal?
Well, the spring.
Spring, summer, okay.
Yeah.
Would we, okay, so we have to close, okay, that's a discussion for another moment. Any additional comments, thoughts?
One question I have is, I guess I'm surprised that this language already isn't in there. I mean, I thought I thought there was language in the collective bargaining agreement that said for, if they're working outside of, there isn't, huh?
No,
Shocked by that.
it doesn't exist.
I believe that there was a discussion point, but I don't think it would be. Will we have to update the stipend categories that are used throughout the SAU or even here?
During the next budget process. we would.
Okay.
When we revisit those next year.
Yeah, we do a meeting every year on this stuff. You add it to it. I don't remember it being in the previous ones at all.
There's already a stipend for the person that
Yeah.
plans the trip.
Right.
That I knew.
Right.
And once we have a signed memorandum of agreement, it's effectively on the list.
Any additional thoughts, comments? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation for the overnight stipends in the amount of $200 a night for teachers when they do overnight trips with additional students.
Can I get a second? Mark seconded. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, item B under new business is temporary appointment of operations committee representative.
So I explained in an email that we have an odd timing on a meeting that falls after Election Day. Pam's been your representative, and she won't be with us on operations. I think John's the alternate, and I believe you were not available.
I'm not going to be here.
So we have to have a designation for that meeting only among the other three of you as to who will be the representative at that meeting, because the reorganization occurs after that. So that's only for a one meeting.
Well, I don't know, if the fourth person's not here, I don't see why we can't nominate that.
Because the election results aren't certified until the end of the week.
Well, that's
why.
right, so we have no name.
That's correct.
I would be available to do it remotely, if that helps.
We're able to do that. Yeah, we're able to do that. Okay,
I'm fine with that.
great. Okay,
You guys are good?
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item C under new business is to meet with the moderator, GP, and our attorney, Attorney Kazaza. Thank you for joining us tonight. The floor is yours.
I really have nothing to add other than an observation. Typically, I have not formally requested a motion to open discussion, since there's no vote to move the article. There would only be a vote if there's actual amendment. So unless you want me to observe that procedure, I'm happy just to introduce the article, recognize the school board representative who's going to address that particular article, open it for discussion, and then entertain motions for amendments. Everyone on board with that procedure?
We're good.
All right.
Can Matt speak to the paving article, or does it have to be a school board member?
No, in the past and again this year, I expect that I will point out that we may recognize people who are not residents, who are not registered voters in Hampton Falls to speak to subject matter. And I'll just bring that up unless there are objections, that will be allowed.
Do you mind? Do you mind? You're more versed in that, I think, than the rest of the board, though we're aware of it, but you're,
Absolutely. I'm happy to go through the entire PowerPoint, so wherever you want me to go, and I assume that it was, so.
so,
Are you doing the operating budget? And
you get to do the operating budget.
Okay.
To that point, JP, Matt will also present the operating budget
Okay, and the paving project.
and the paving project.
How about CESPA?
Okay,
Do you want to do it, or do you want to do
No, I
it?
think Matt should do so.
Okay, Matt will do CESPA.
okay.
And then we have the expendable trusts, special education, building maintenance, and I mean, I'm happy to run
Might as
through
well
all.
just do it all.
Yeah.
You're hired.
Great.
We will,
But you have opening, you're doing some opening.
that's it.
Secure that, okay.
Um, And I guess then, Matt, Ed, we will interject when needed, or if we think we need to.
Yep.
If there's questions or comments.
Yeah.
So in that case, JP, if someone has a question and one of the board members wants to make a comment or answer a question, we just,
Yeah, just look to me and I'll
Wave at
recognize
Jack.
you, right?
okay. All right.
Is that it?
That's all I've got.
Attorney Kazaza?
Nothing to add.
Sure. The floor's yours.
Sure for now.
We've got 45 minutes.
So
Well,
Greg,
that's, I'll go get a coffee and be back for the start, so I'm totally okay if you
Matt.
don't have anything else.
so you do have an opening prepared though for the operating budget, and then you'll turn it over to me? I just wanna
Yes,
clarify.
in that
Okay.
opening, I will speak to the operating budget. I will also indicate that you will be going into more detail of the budget.
Great. And did you want to fill out these motion cards, or are you good without? Some districts, I
Oh,
forget,
that's a good
I forget
idea.
if you do that.
No,
or
we
not.
did that last year.
Okay.
Who would like to make the motion on budget?
We did, right?
Pardon?
We already did that,
Did
right?
it,
So,
right?
so
It was
No,
used
when,
across the board.
so we will have, in the deliberative session, we have to make a motion to send it to the ballot, correct, JP?
No, it goes to the ballot.
So what are we making a motion? Accept it as
Really,
presented?
the only motions that you would need to bring forward, presuming that you're not bringing forward any amendments, would be, motions to restrict reconsideration. So there will be, after I introduce the article, I'll open the floor, well, first recognize the board, open the floor after that for other discussion, questions, amendments, whatever may come forth. But we could be passing articles to the ballot without there being any motions, because they're going to the ballot in one form or another.
You do think we should do a motion to restrict reconsideration?
should we do that after the reading of each one?
No, you do it after conversation.
I mean, after, right, right,
Yeah,
but before we
after
get to
it's
the
moved
next.
to the
Before we
ballot.
get to the next.
After each one.
Ballot.
Okay.
I'm sorry, John. what'd you
I was
say?
saying after each one.
Yes.
I would agree.
Who would like to do the first for the budget? Pam will make that motion to restrict reconsideration.
We just want to have one person do it all.
Yes. You don't
We've done
mind?
that- We've done that before. We just have a second.
Who wants to second? John?
I'll second.
Okay.
Oh, we want to move that.
So JP, just so you know, Pam will make the motion to restrict reconsideration for all items on ballot. John will second for all.
Okay.
questions for JP or Attorney Kazaza? Do we have to go into non-public?
We do not.
Assume we did not. So we have completed the meeting.
Well, we do have some upcoming meeting dates. Does then you wanna?
Oh, sorry.
change the date?
Thank you. Sure, yes, so the meeting on the 10th is Election Day. So I don't think we're meeting that night. That's an assumption we've made. And so in Seabrook, which has the corresponding date, we have moved that meeting to the 17th. And so that's our recommendation, if that works for all of you, because that would, we actually looked at later that week, but as I said earlier, we can't because new board members aren't certified till later on in that week. And so we looked at the next week. So the 7th, what we'd recommend is the 17th at 6:30, if that works for all of you.
What time do they have there?
4:30.
4:30.
Yes.
So you just hit from there to here?
We do.
Oh, I'm fine.
There's a chance I may not be around that week, but I'm not positive yet.
Okay.
So I just, I've got a business thing going on, but we haven't made solid plans, so
Okay.
I'll leave that up in there.
Did you say the 17th
17th,
at 6:30?
yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
What's that, Greg? Are you good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's fine.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Farrar, for that catch.
At St. Patrick's Day, so.
Yep. Yep,
Now, technically, we should recess, correct?
that's correct. We should recess.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recess the meeting at 6:18. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well,